The water of the Adriatic does not just meet the land here, it carves into it, creating a deep, jagged inlet that mirrors the sky. The camera glides low over the Bay of Kotor, where the surface is a sheet of dark, polished glass. Ahead, the limestone cliffs rise vertically. Sunlight breaks over the peaks, catching the ancient stone ramparts that climb the mountainside like a jagged spine. These walls have held their ground for centuries, their weathered surfaces glowing gold as the light hits them. Every block of stone tells of a time. The sheer scale of the landscape is immediate. The mountains do not roll, they erupt from the water, creating a vertical world. Below, the ancient town sits tucked into the narrow strip of shore, its red-tiled roofs huddled against the rock. The light shifts, revealing the intricate patterns of the fortifications, tracing the path where history was once written in defense and survival. This is not a quiet landscape. It is a fortress carved by nature and reinforced by human hands, standing silent against the tide of time. The camera pulls away from the coast, rising over the Dinaric Alps as they surge abruptly from the sea. These peaks are not mere mountains. They are the jagged backbone of the nation, rising in endless gray waves toward the clouds. As the altitude increases, the air thins and changes. It carries the sharp, clean scent of crushed pine needles and wild herbs. Deep in the hidden valleys, small villages emerge, clustered tightly against the rugged terrain. Here, the pace of life slows. Locals move along narrow paths, their voices carrying across the mountain air. They greet one another in Montenegrin. Every syllable spoken is a testament to the resilience of those who have carved a home out of these unforgiving heights. A farmer pauses, leaning on a wooden gate, and exchanges a nod with a neighbor. There is no rush here. The resilience of the land is mirrored in the grounded movements of its people, who look toward the peaks as the foundation of their identity. Beyond the village paths, the landscape holds a different kind of weight. The spiritual life of this nation is built into the geography itself, marked by structures that have stood for centuries. An Orthodox monastery sits tucked into a cliffside, its stone walls blending into the gray rock, while a few miles away, the sharp spires of a Catholic cathedral rise above the valley floor. In the towns, the dome of an Islamic mosque catches the afternoon light, its minaret reaching toward the clouds. These are not merely buildings, they are silent witnesses to a complex, layered past. They stand in close proximity, creating a quiet harmony that defines the local spirit. There is no friction in their presence, only a shared respect for the ground they occupy. Inside the monastery, the air is thick with the scent of beeswax and old parchment. In the cathedral, sunlight filters through stained glass, casting pools of color on the worn stone floor. The mosque remains a place of calm, its interior cool and stripped of ornament. Each site serves as a bridge between the generations, anchoring the community in a tradition that transcends individual belief. They are the physical manifestations of a history that has learned to coexist. As the sun begins to dip, the bells of the cathedral and the call from the minaret echo across the same hills, blending into a single, resonant sound that speaks to the enduring peace of this diverse land. The narrative of stone and faith gives way to the raw, unyielding power of the high interior. The drone pushes further inland, rising into the jagged limestone teeth of Dermator National Park. Here, the earth abandons all pretense of gentleness. Massive gray peaks tear through the cloud layer, their slopes scarred by frost and time. At the center of this wilderness, Bobotov Kuk stands as a monolith, a sharp, defiant point reaching toward the sky. It is a vertical challenge that mocks the scale of human endeavor. The air here is thin, biting, and devoid of the sense of the villages below. It smells only of cold rock and ancient ice. Below the summit, the landscape drops into a deep, silent basin. The Black Lake emerges from the shadows of the surrounding forest, its surface a mirror of ink-dark water. It reflects the dense, emerald canopy of the pines that crowd its edge, creating a seamless loop of green and black. The wilderness of the interior hides a deeper, more violent narrative. The Tara River Canyon cuts a jagged, dramatic scar through the earth, a testament to the relentless force of water against stone. For millennia, the river has carved its path, its turquoise currents churning with a power that has shaped the very foundation of the land. This is the lifeblood of the nation, a relentless flow that powers the turbines of modern cities yet its beauty conceals a history of profound struggle. The canyon walls rise sheer and imposing, trapping the echoes of a turbulent past. Scattered along the ridges and hidden in the valleys lie the remains of Roman villas and the stone foundations of Ottoman fortresses. These ruins do not rest quietly. They loom over the landscape, marking the sites where empires once clashed. The mortar has long since crumbled, leaving behind jagged walls that seem to claw at the sky. Where the river once served as a boundary, these fortifications stand as weathered sentinels of an era defined by conquest and resistance. The transition is palpable. The raw, geological violence of the canyon gives way to the human-made scars of history. The silence of the ruins shattered in 1876. At Vucci-Do, the landscape transformed from a graveyard of empires into a furnace of resistance. The Ottoman forces advanced across the rocky plateau, their lines tight and deliberate. Facing them, the mountain warriors held the high ground, their grip on their rifles white-knuckled and steady. The first volley tore through the air, a sharp crack that echoed off the canyon walls and signaled the start of a desperate struggle. Smoke billowed, obscuring the sun and turning the morning into a gray, suffocating haze. Men lunged forward, boots sliding on loose shale, weapons clashing in the narrow gaps between boulders. There was no room for retreat. Every inch of ground was contested with raw, physical force. Swords struck steel, and the smell of sulfur replaced the scent of pine. The momentum shifted with every desperate charge and countercharge. It was a brutal, grinding collision of wills that lasted until the earth itself seemed to tremble. By the time the final shots rang out, the landscape had been altered. The echoes of the battlefield have faded into the rhythmic pulse of a new century. Along the Adriatic coast, the water now mirrors the sleek hulls of luxury yachts, their white decks gleaming against the deep blue. These vessels dock in marinas where the modern world meets the medieval. Just a few steps away, the narrow, winding alleys of coastal towns remain untouched by time. The stone walls here are worn smooth by centuries of footsteps, creating a labyrinth that forces a slower pace. Tourists navigate these tight corridors, their voices bouncing off the ancient masonry as they move between cafes and open squares. Yet, the true heartbeat of the nation lies further inland, where the tempo shifts entirely. The air grows still, carrying the faint, earthy scent of sun-baked soil. Here, the farmers work in silence, tending to silver-leafed olive groves that have stood for generations. They move with a deliberate, practiced grace, their hands calloused from years of pruning and harvesting. Each tree is a living monument to endurance, its gnarled trunk twisting toward the sky as it has for centuries. In these fertile valleys, the rows of grapevines stretch toward the horizon, marking the land with precise green lines. The contrast is absolute. Beneath the surface of the quiet valleys, the earth yields its hidden wealth. Heavy machinery bites into the mountainside, where miners extract bauxite, the raw red ore that fuels the industrial pulse of the nation. The work is relentless, marked by the grinding of steel against rock and the constant movement of heavy transport along winding mountain roads. This is the backbone of the economy, a process of transformation that turns raw earth into the aluminum that sustains modern growth. Down in the town squares, the rhythm changes from mechanical to human. The markets are alive with the morning trade, a sensory collision of color and scent. Stalls overflow with the harvest of the region. Pomegranates, split open to reveal deep crimson seeds, sit beside wheels of sharp, aged cheese and thick slabs of cured meat. Traders call out prices, their voices cutting through the humid air. Fingers weigh produce, testing the ripeness of fruit and the firmness of local goods. The exchange is direct and physical, a handshake over a crate of goods, a coin passed from palm to palm. Every transaction is a testament to the labor that defines the land. The sun dips low, casting a long, golden light across the Adriatic. It catches the limestone cliffs, turning the gray stone into a glowing amber wall that guards the bay. This is the final hour of the day, a moment when the contrasts of the nation seem to soften and merge. The ancient defiance of mountain warriors and the modern pulse of a nation finding its footing in the 21st century settle into a singular, quiet harmony. Montenegro is a mosaic of these opposing forces, held together by the gravity of its own geography. It is not merely a destination to be checked off a map. Every stone path, worn smooth by centuries of travel, holds a memory. Every canyon wall, carved deep by the relentless force of the Terra River, tells a story. The air itself feels heavy with the weight of what has passed and the promise of what is yet to come. As the last light fades, the landscape transforms. It becomes a living, breathing history, a narrative written in the very bedrock of the Dinaric Alps. This land demands more than a passing glance. It asks to be felt through the soles of boots on mountain trails, understood through the shared language of its people, and explored. To look at this country is to witness a story that never truly ends, but continues to unfold with every tide that pulls back from the shore, and every sunrise that breaks over the peaks. It is a place that remains, waiting for those who are willing to look closer. It is a place that remains, waiting for those who are willing to look closer.